Just became an EMT. If you have choices whether to go to interfacility transports or working as a 911 EMT or paramedic, kudos to you for having options. A lot of people nowadays don't even have a job, or they're doing Uber Eats, and after paying for gas and all these things, it's pretty much less than minimum wage. So first and foremost, kudos to you. Now let me help you make the decision on whether or not you should do interfacility transports or 911, whether you should go through the slow pace or the fast pace of the options you have. First, let's define what is what so you can make a better decision. What is interfacility transports? Interfacility transports are usually done by private ambulance company that transports a patient from point A to point B. And point A is usually one hospital to point B, which can be a nursing home, as you saw in the thumbnail. So that's an interfacility, each facility. When we talk about 911 responses are people, as you may already be able to notice, calling for emergencies. Not to say that interfacility transports don't have emergencies, but in 911, what you'll see is that people call 911, whether it's for a headache, a cardiac arrest, a drown, a gunshot wound, whatever it is. These are emergency calls that will challenge you a lot more than interfacility transports, because interfacility transports, what you could expect a lot of the times, is very different from 911, which is routine calls like dialysis centers and long distance trips for a person who may have gotten sick in Florida but lives in Atlanta and they want to go back home. So that's an example of interfacility transports. So being that interfacility transport patients, IFT patients, are a lot more stable, because most of the time, except for very rare occasions where you have a critical care paramedic, you most of the time are transporting stable patients from one facility to the next. So if you're new to the field, that may be best for you. Why? Because it all depends on your personality. If you're the type of person who doesn't like to rush, if you're the type of person who does not work well under pressure just yet, interfacility transports are good, because interfacility transports, the patient is stable, you have a lot more time, and their life is in your hands, but not as much as you have in 911, because in 911, that's when, quote unquote, things hit the fan. That's when out of 10 calls that you get in 911, one of them is a real emergency, and that real emergency is the difference between life or death. That real emergency is most likely the worst circumstance this patient has ever been in their entire life. So interfacility transport is a lot slower, while 911 is a lot more fast paced. It's a lot more dynamic. So the question is, which one will you pick? What does your personality go towards? Does your personality go towards being fast paced, like an adrenaline junkie? Or does your personality go towards taking your time and not rushing into situations? So you have that choice. And let me tell you a little bit about my story. What I ended up doing was I went straight into interfacility transports, because when I graduated from EMT school, I was 18 years old, and they did not accept me into 911 because I wasn't old enough to drive the ambulance, nor was I old enough to drink alcohol. But at the end of the day, I went ahead and did interfacility transports. Right away, I became an instructor, and I started teaching CPR and first aid and BLS skills, and eventually I got into 911. But I got into 911 4 years after being an EMT. So what I'm trying to share with you is that my personal route, although I rather have gone into 911, although I work well under pressure, I was forced to go into facility transports. And that was actually a blessing in disguise, because the time that I spent working into facility transports with older EMTs, with older paramedics, they took me under the wing. They were the father figure that I didn't have. They taught me a lot of things and were a very good influence for me. And they also taught me how to maneuver the stretcher, how to do the paperwork. And since it wasn't a high stakes type of environment, I had the time to mold myself. I had the time to understand things without having to rush into it. Although I felt the urge to rush into it, I was forced not to rush into it. because a lot of times things in life don't go our way, but it's actually a blessing in disguise. It's keeping you from being hurt. Think about it. For you guys who are not married or don't have kids, what if you were given a family of four right now with a wife and a dog and a mortgage? It'll be too much for you to handle. So those blessings are yours. You deserve them, but first you got to earn them. So you have to earn your stripes, and that's the way I earned my stripes. You can go ahead straight into 911. That's up to you. But in my particular situation, I went into facility transports first. I drove paramedics. I did the teaching. I worked like 80 hours per week, and I had a lot of fun doing it. And then eventually I went to paramedic school, and then I entered 911 as a paramedic. Remember, guys, especially for paramedics, for you to be a mediocre paramedic, you must first be a stellar EMT. So at this point of my career, I was good at being a paramedic student and eventually a paramedic because I was such an experienced EMT with so many notches under my belt as far as the years. And that helped me tremendously. It's not necessarily about proving that you're ready. It's more about preparing to be solid. It's about having a strong foundation. Because at the end of the day, when I went into becoming a paramedic, although I had this strong foundation of being an EMT, I still fumbled on my first cardiac arrest. I still had a hard time trying to figure out what to do and when to do it. Although it wasn't as hard as some of my counterparts, but it wasn't something that you could figure out eventually. I mean, something that you figure out immediately. It had to come with the work. It had to come with the experience. And just letting you know, just setting you up and giving you realistic expectations. A lot of times, people make mistakes because that's how we learn. So when I became a paramedic, let me tell you a story. My first ventilator patient, I became nauseous and I almost fainted. To know I was a fresh paramedic. The patch was crispy white. My card was still had wet ink on it, and I was really, really afraid of transporting a person from a nursing home to the ER for blood cultures that showed an infection. But this was a ventilator patient, and I was really, really scared because although I had the training, it was my first patient by myself, and my EMT partner, shout out to VJ, BLS before ALS, he saved me because he had worked with paramedics way before he worked with me, and eventually he noticed, based on his experience, that I was having a hard time because I had to sit down. He told me, yo, your lips are white, and he helped me. He helped me treat this patient, put him on the ventilator, put him on the monitor, and do all these things. So you have this question, am I cut out for this? If you have this question or this imposter syndrome, you could do it. There's been thousands and thousands, if not millions, of EMTs and paramedics before you, and there'll be a whole bunch after you. So if they can do it, you can do it. No doubt about it. I started slow, and there's no shame in that. I did IFT first. Then I went ahead and did IFT as a paramedic, and then eventually I became a 911 paramedic. So that trajectory set me up for success and eventually led me into medical school. So in my case, I wasn't raised with a father. I needed space. I needed mentoring. I needed guidance. I needed time to build my confidence, and IFT was the best route for me. IFT was the best route for me to make mistakes under low stakes so that when I reached the high stakes scenarios, like I worked in the South Bronx for all those years, it prepared me to be a better patient advocate. It prepared me to be a better paramedic. It prepared me to do a better job. Because when real emergencies come, it's not about who's the loudest. It's about who's the fastest. It's about who is able to recognize a disease and treat it accordingly. It's about who's not going to do no harm. When there's real emergencies at stake, doing IFT first, the problem that a lot of people have when they try to rush through the process is that they yet don't know how to handle the stretcher. They're not comfortable with a stair chair. They're not comfortable with going up and down the stairs Yet they want to start cardioverting people. Yet they want to do trauma jobs and extricate patients from the car when they don't even know how to put properly use the straps on the longboard. So although you go through EMT school, although you get trained, at the end of the day, it's not the same to do it in a controlled setting, in a dynamic setting while it's raining and the floor is slippery and the surface is uneven and your boots, you forgot to tie them tighter, and now this person is dying and you need to rush them to the hospital, or you're waiting for the helicopter to come and receive them. It's two different scenarios. So whether you're a new husband, a new father, a new EMT, or whatever phase in life that you are, consistency is key. What is a black belt? A black belt is a white belt who never quit. All you got to do is keep training, one day at a time. Be consistent. Think about, where would you be if you were consistent in your diet? Where would you be if you were consistent in working overtime, in your workouts, or whatever it is? You'll be much further along. So it's more about the consistency. 911 is exciting. There's a lot of chaos and I love it. I work well under pressure. The crazier the scene is, the more calm I get. But that first came from the experience of working interfacility transport. It came from the consistency. It came from grinding, because once you grind it out, you will grow. Once you grow, then you're more comfortable with the discomfort. And then that way you work well under pressure. And please apply this knowledge, this wisdom, to your relationships. Do you take the condom off and have unprotected sex immediately? Do you do a one night stand? Are you holding yourself for the right one? Are you rushing into it? Or are you taking your time, making sure that you treat the lady like a lady? In business, with jobs, do you chase the rabbit do you chase the carrot like a rabbit? Do you chase opportunities and don't really plant yourself on one? For example, in my particular situation, there's so many different things I can do. There's so many, like, I'm a paramedic, I'm a doctor, I've done government contracts, I've spoken at the US Cap, I have all these awesome accolades. But if you jump around too much, then you're just a master of none. And what ends up happening is, at least in my particular situation, I focus on healthcare. I focus on helping people. And that's why I'm so good at it, because I don't have dispersed energy. Dispersed energy gives you dispersed results. Also, if you're rushing into things and you're ill-equipped, then it's going to show when it matters most. It's just like in your workouts. Are you going for the PR and then getting a lower back injury? Or are you taking your time and you understand that you have to look down the road 10 years, 20 years down the line? Long view, my brothers. Long view, my sisters. Imagine who would you be in 2035 instead of focusing on 2025. Long view. Take your time. It takes time to build things that are worth building. If you rush into it, although there is a place for rushing into it, for example, you need to have patience in the macro while having urgency in the micro. So for long goals, have patience. But for your to-do list for today, do it and get it done immediately. I hope that makes sense for you. And look, I don't care if you choose IFT or 911. I just want you to grow. I just want you to choose what is best for you in your particular circumstance so that you can become the man you were born to be. I just want you to make choices that not only make you look good, but make you do good. Don't worry so much about the attention from other people. Most people are lost. Don't focus so much on what people have to say, because those same people won't pay your light bill if they cut your lights off. Those same people are not aware of what you have within you in a lot of circumstances. There's a stronger version of you, and that's what I'm more focused on. It's not so much about IFT versus 911. It's about you being a better you. It's about you being a better patient care advocate. And guess what ends up happening? These traits, these wisdom that you apply in your life will trickle into your life outside of the ambulance while you're not wearing the uniform, as a husband, as a father, as a community member and a community leader. By the way, some of my IFT calls, the patients had me playing Christmas music for them, merengue, salsa music, and it was a lot of fun driving long distances, listening to the person's favorite playlist on Spotify. If you do not get offended easily and you want to know a lot more about dealing with EMTs and paramedics that have more experience than you, but you feel or they may want to belittle you, then click on this video. It'll help you tremendously. Also, there's another video right here where you'll be experiencing EMTs and paramedics who are antisocial and kind of shun you away, and I tell you how to deal with it right there. So let's help each other grow. Let's share the wisdom. Guys, let's build a stronger community, because I want my brothers and sisters to do better, to be better, and to look better. So please watch those videos and also share this content with whoever you think could benefit from it, whether it's one of your classmates from EMT school or one of your coworkers. Now, if you want me to make a video on how not to get roasted by your EMT partner in your first month of work, just comment down below and let me know if that's a video you want to watch. Or if you have any questions about anything, kind of like the brother who hit me up on Instagram asking me to make this video, just let me know and I'll make you a video. Now, I'm wearing this jacket because I'm on my way to work. I actually got my National Registry paramedic, and I was retired, but now I'm out of retirement, my people. So I'll see ya. Just ask me a question. I got you.